The rain Southeast Ohio got was helpful in the short term for things like grass and shrubs, but it's not as helpful for large root systems like trees. Deer like to hang out here at Highland Park before the kids get here. And while deer might be cute, high populations can have severe consequences for humans. While seniors appreciate the hot meal, they also value the company and conversation that comes with it, because sometimes it's the only interaction they get in a day. This is the Rehoboth Church basement, and rebuilding starts next Saturday, and the church bell will soon ring again. Athens County had 6 people die from suicide within the past 2 months, and city leaders want to remind people help is available. The Zons Corner Middle School is a place frozen in time.
The only thing that doesn't exist is students and staff there.
Abandoned since 2019 when a study found radioactive neptunium in the building. The classrooms are exactly like they were 5 years ago. Most believe the neptunium came from the open-air demolition of the nearby Portsmouth gaseous diffusion plant. Since then, the district has paid $30,000 to $50,000 a year to maintain Zons Corner.
Our students deserve to have the best education that we can provide. And if we're putting resources in a school that we don't use anymore, that's just not sound financial investment in my view.
The district put the building up for auction earlier this month. The Pike Christian Academy planned to submit a bid for the building, but said on social media it wouldn't, after the community and academy parents protested. Pike County Health Commissioner Matt Brewster says the neptunium is at a level the federal government says is safe, but there is still a 1 in 10,000 chance of a person getting cancer.
They weren't willing to put the kids there at an increased risk.
Cleaning up the building is the only way to eliminate that risk, but according to Chick Lawson, that requires gutting it and more.
And then they would probably have to figure out how they're going to do an acid treatment on it.
Lawson is a former gaseous diffusion plant worker. He says even if the building is remediated, the demolition of the plant will make all that effort worthless.
As soon as they start taking down the X333, which has plutonium in it, it's going to be contaminated again. Now what are you going to do?
At least 3 other parties are still interested in purchasing the school. Flag Springs Church, Rehoboth Church, and the Fox Fairview Church have at least one thing in common: suspected arson. Each church burned a little over a month apart, starting in May and ending in August. Firefighter Selena Jenkins says the fires are suspicious because of the church's remote location and proximity to each other.
The State Fire Marshal's Office does deem it an arson due to the fact that it was where it's out here and there was no one around.
But over the weekend, there were plenty of people around, as the community drove together to the different churches as part of the Unity and Community event, bringing former and current churchgoers to the ashes to help deal with the loss.
Brush off the ashes and tend to your bruises. And put on the armor that God gave to you, and let's get busy. We've got work to do.
Jody Fowler and her husband organized the event. She went to Fox Fairview when it was still active, and even though it wasn't used for services, Fowler and the community still feel the loss. So does Jonna Lunsford and her family, who've been going to the Rehoboth Church for decades. She couldn't believe she saw the church burn on July 6th.
I couldn't imagine someone doing that and that we'd able to come this far this quickly toward rebuilding.
And the community has already raised about $130,000, and Lunsford says that could cover the rebuilding. Construction starts October 28th, and the community hopes to partially reopen in the winter. Gina Doyle sent her 3 children to Zons Corner Middle School.
My girls are all grown now, but there's been many kids that went to school here that died.
Zons Corner is about 5 miles away from the former Portsmouth gaseous diffusion plant. The district shut down the school in 2019 after a study found radiation contamination in the building.
This used to be a really nice school, beautiful spot for the kids. And now it's empty, it's sad, and they've hurt us.
But now the Scioto Valley School District is putting the building up for auction. It says maintaining the building is getting expensive. The starting bid, $275,000. And the potential buyer has some people in the community angry.
If it's a contaminated school, they shut it down for a reason. But yet they're thinking about putting more kids in here. It's insane.
The Pike Christian Academy is interested in buying the school, and that has brought out parents like Nicole Burchett, who's out front of the school protesting the potential sale. Her son goes to the Pike Christian Academy, but if the sale goes through,
we're going to pull our kids, so just as a precaution if nothing else.
The Brewster Real Estate will be walking potential buyers through the school on July 24th. Doyle and other activists are planning another protest that day. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Alison Patton in Piketon. Brandon Schlichter has about 100 properties he rents out in Circleville, Ohio. He's had his ups and downs of being a landlord.
Over the course of the last 10 years, I've probably paid $25,000, $35,000 in tenant utility bills that I ultimately didn't feel responsible for.
He makes a living off his properties and a couple of businesses. When tenants don't pay their municipal utility bills, Schlichter gets the tap.
$750 water bill. I'm out 10 months worth of money that I was hoping to profit.
Municipalities are allowed to charge anyone connected to the home for a delinquent utility bill. Oftentimes, it's the property owner, not the tenant, on the hook.
If you use the service, then you're the one responsible for that bill.
Ohio House Bill 93 would require municipalities to collect payments from the tenant. Athens Deputy Service Safety Director Andrew Chicky says this would force the city to either track down the resident or find other ways to cover the loss.
Our capacity to be able to absorb potential non-payment is very, very low, which means we have to increase utilities.
But if House Bill 93 doesn't pass, landlords say they'll have to find other ways for them to recoup their losses. And it could mean increasing rent or a security deposit.
I would hate to ask for a first month's rent, security deposit, and a $500 water deposit. I think that's really going to make it difficult for people to get into housing that they need.
But Ohio Municipal League's Rod Davison says issues between landlords and tenants shouldn't be hoisted on local municipalities.
They don't want to have to raise our rates so that because landlords either didn't track their tenants, didn't collect from them, weren't effective at it, weren't making enough money, whatever their problem is.
Paul Schultz used to be a fireman, but now that he's retired,
I'm going to cut from the top and see if
he spends his time doing this instead.
Voila.
Clearing mountain bike trails with his chainsaw.
I like the mechanics of it all, and I like to try and calculate where the forces are with the tree, you know, the weight loads and things like that.
Schultz is a member of the Athens Bicycle Club, a group of about 40 to 120 people dedicated to maintaining more than 120 miles of biking and hiking trails in Athens County, including this one near the Dow Lake Dam. With all those miles to manage, President Bob West says the club needs more members.
Trails are very, very necessary, but they're also not natural. They're going to grow back.
And donations for better equipment.
We need to be able to hand them safety glasses, hard hats, or bike helmets, or whatever they need, because we're way past the point where we can expect our volunteer workforce to come in and pay for all their own stuff.
It is vital work to keep riders, hikers, and runners safe and coming back.
If their arms are bleeding from briar scratches, they're going to go somewhere else.
So West hopes a new generation of volunteers will continue to keep these trails clean for others